Hey guys, just wanted to make a quick video of something I'm going to be doing today. This is a idle air control and a throttle position sensor. This is Dad's 1998 Dodge van. He's had it since new, and he's kept it very well maintained, but it's getting a problem where when you let off the throttle, it wants to die. We changed the sensor actually once, but I didn't change the throttle position sensor when I did it. So this sensor, I believe, has started going bad as well. So what I'm going to do today is I'm going to kind of get in here, take out this console. The throttle body's just directly under the AC controls and everything, so it's pretty easy to get to. There's only 2 screws per sensor, and we're going to go ahead and change these out, see if maybe we can get old Derek back to running a little better again today. So since I've had this vehicle apart before, this is going to be a little bit easier to do this time, but the first thing that I found that we've got to do here is pull back this carpet a little bit. And then you're going to have a set of clamps and bolts. There's 2 on each side that hold the lower part of the console in. For this particular bolt, it's just a 13 millimeter. Like I said, where I've had this apart before, these clamps come apart pretty easy. All right, let's go to the other side and get it. So on this other side, you're basically going to have the same thing. You're just going to pull your carpet back, and you're going to have 2 sets of these clamps. This one's actually already been removed. Hey, already a good bonus for the day, fat quarter. And then we've got one more a little further back on this. I'm just going to loosen it enough for it to move. Something I didn't show you though on this other side, I'll show you that in just a second, is there are a set of clamps that hold or fasten this console in. All right, let's get a little bit closer here. This is the clamp I was talking about. There's one on each side. Now, once you've unclamped both of these, loosen both of the floor bolts on each side, this console just pops loose. Since I've got a little more room on this side to kind of pull things out, what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and move my tools out of the way. I'm going to slide this seat back as far as I can get it. I think that's about as far as I can go at the moment. I'm going to very carefully though work this console forward from the top. Okay, so you can see a little better what I'm doing here. I'm going to go ahead and get up in the cab for a minute. This just, like I said, rocks forward. Step it up over the carpet there, and you're ready to pull it out. So I probably could turn it and pull it into the back and all that rigmarole, but these things are very light. They don't have a whole lot of weight to them. So all I'm going to really do is I'm just going to lift it up over the seat and out this door. All right, so here's the console. Very lightweight piece, nothing major to deal with. Now, let's take a look at the inside. All right, so like I was saying, the sensors and stuff I'm going to be working on are just below the AC and radio controls. These are very, very short into the cab. It's a snub-nosed van, so there's not a whole lot of room for everything to just sit farther forward. So you basically sit on top of the transmission and the motor. Now the sensors I'm getting ready to go for are right back up in there. So what we got to do is we got to next take off this air cover and get to the sensors. So on this, taking the breather off is very simple. We're just going to take this top wing nut loose. Let's not lose anything with it, so I'm going to lay that part here. Let's take off the top cover. Now, your air filter probably needs to be knocked out a little bit. And next, this is the tricky part. We're going to have to pop the hood for this. All right, so here we go. Just pull that. All right. Next, we're just going to set the prop rod right up here. And why we have to pop the hood here is our breather is pushed in right here. We want to take this air tube loose so that we can get the clearance to pull that out. Alright, now that we've got the air tube loose up front, our little plate here comes off real easy. We also have one blow-by hose right here. It just pulls right off. And now we can see where both of our sensors are. This right here is our IAC, and this right here is our throttle position sensor cable. Alright, so in the process of looking at this just now, I found something I hadn't noticed before. I've got a wire here that's broke that goes to the TPS. So I wanted to break out the soldering iron, put in a new little piece of wire there, and hopefully that doesn't change the resistance of anything. The TPS, I know, reads resistance values, so hopefully it doesn't change anything. We'll go ahead and get the IAC in. I'll go ahead and remove the sensor here for the TPS and see if I can go ahead and get that wire fixed as well real quick. Let's go grab a few tools and I'll be right back. Alright, so I got my soldering iron, got some solder. We'll get to that in a minute. Right now, what I wanted to do is, I guess it's a T20. Find my torque bit here. There we go. Let's go ahead and remove the idle air control sensor. Yes, I could have done this faster if I used an impact or a drill, but I'm not in that big of a hurry today with it. This is something that's been kind of aggravating with this van for a little while, so I'm going to take my time and make sure that I don't over torque anything or damage anything in the process of this. This is Dad's van. It's been a great van and served us well, getting a lot of places for many years. Oh, there is a little piece. I think there's even a little section of that wire missing right there. I showed that to Dad off camera a minute ago. We were looking at it. Now, like I said, it's pretty simple, easy little fix there. Alright, now, got that sensor out. Let's see about getting the throttle position sensor out. These have got quite a bit more torque on them. I think I'm going to have to find a different bit. Take this extension off, we don't need it. I'll go back to my little hand driver. One. Oh wow, those are quite a bit longer than what the ones for the IAC are. So, have you all ever had problems with something like this with the van? Or the 318 and 360 motors? Where, you know, you let off the throttle and it died? Let me know in the comments. Let me know how you fixed it. This is just how, or what I found that seems to work. Dad had had tune-ups and several other things done to it beforehand, trying to get it out of it. There's very low miles on this motor too for its age. All right, there it is. There's the throttle position sensor, and there is the IAC. As you can tell, this one's pretty new looking. I'm starting to think now that this may have not started going bad, that in reality what our major problem is may actually be right here. There's actually a small chunk of wire that's missing from right here. So what I'm going to do is try to find a piece of wire, same gauge. I'm going to solder this little sucker in and button it back up there, and hopefully we won't have any more problems with you let off the throttle dying. Alright, so I think actually after careful consideration here, what I'm going to do, and so that I don't mess with resistance values at the moment, is for a project that I had been working on a little while back. I actually had some sets of connectors. These are just the right length, and they're not going to interfere with the amount of resistance going through. I don't believe. If you think it will, let me know in the comments. But I think what I'm able to do is just kind of peel this back a little bit. I want to junction it with a wire connector, and then put the new sensor in and see if that does the job. Alright, so all I done was peeled the sheathing back just a little bit there. I'm starting to notice there's another kind of little pinch there in that wire. I don't think it's going to hurt nothing. What I want to do first, finally get to use these strippers. I don't necessarily like these. I need a new set. These are not going to work for this gauge wire. They're just, I don't think. No. Oh, well, yeah, we got it loose there a little bit. See what? I'm going to just go back to my handy dandy little razor blade here and just cut it that way. Okay, now, got me a little piece of wire loose on each side. One thing I didn't show was disconnecting the battery. Anytime, guys, that you're working on electrical or anything like this in the vehicle, make sure to disconnect your battery. Since this is a smaller gauge wire, I'm going to use a relatively small gauge connector. Now, let's see here. There. Let's see. Feels good and solid. It's good and tight. And we're just going to put it in like so. And again, crimp. Alright, so instead of soldering, instead of all the craziness going through, having to have extra anything, there we go. I went ahead and just used that crimp, and that should make a big difference in the way this is reading. I guess missing an entire wire, it couldn't properly read the position of the throttle when you had let off. I guess that's why I was dying. Alright, so what we're going to do here, we're just going to kind of line that up. Okay. There we go. One easy way to correct this, since I am on the driver's side, if you take and put your foot on the pedal, give it just a little throttle, it'll allow you to turn it into the position that you need it. Let me go ahead and get one of my bolts here. Remember, these bolts are going to be your longer bolts. They're not the shorter ones. Shorter ones go to the IAC. Alright, now we've got one bolt in. Let's go ahead, while we've still got the throttle in that position, we'll go ahead and, there we go, put the next one in. Now, that seems like it's a little better. Since we've got a little more tension on it going back in, I'm going to use a ratchet to put these in. This is a T20. It's very standard, I guess. Most of the sensors I've ran into so far on this Dodge have been a T20. Not saying they're all that way, just the ones I've ran into so far. Getting close. I'm ready to try to fire it up and see if everything stays running this time. I, even as a kid, remember, I mean, like I said, Dad bought this at, new in '98. He had it for his picture business, and we drove, oh my Lord, I couldn't tell you how much we drove around in this, and how many pictures and things he delivered. I drove it out of high school as a vehicle for a while. I mean, this vehicle's been a big part of my childhood and my adult life as well. Hopefully this van will be around for many and many more years. Of course, keeping up on maintenance with things like this is a big part of that. I guess I could have been tightening it with my screwdriver this whole time. It felt like they were tighter than what they were. let's give them a little bit of torque, because they didn't come out easy, so we don't want them to come back out either. So it's pretty snug. Here's that. Let's go ahead and plug it back in. All right, one sensor done, and the wire's already fixed there. Now let's get to the next one. All right, so TPS is in. Next is the IAC. This is the one we pulled out. Like I said, I'm starting to think that this one wasn't bad. I think it all had to do with the throttle position sensor, and it had to do with that wire that was missing. This particular IAC actually comes with new bolts. I don't know why the TPS didn't, but the IAC has. Let's go ahead. To make it a little easier there, I'm going to go ahead and plug it in. I'm going to sit it in position. And I'm going to take my handy dandy T20 screwdriver and we'll just start those in there. This is a lot easier to get to in the front than it is to the side, so I'm not stumbling through these quite as much as I was the other. Now, you don't want to tighten the other side completely down just yet. That way you can make sure to get this one started as well. Make sure they're both in track. I did that the other day and they were off alignment a little bit. So that's what a lot of this for me is about, is learning, you know, hands-on opportunity to do something new and expand my mind. You know, if you see things that I'm doing wrong, I always welcome the feedback in the comments. I'd love to hear what people say and think, and let them, you know, help me learn, let me see something new. Alright, so the IAC is in. I don't have to have that breather on or anything for us to be able to start it. So what I'm going to do so that I don't have any major issues is I'm going to pull the carpet up, get it out of the way of the pedal, and we're going to try to start this thing for the first time here. Make sure the throttle's, the TPS is back like it's supposed to be. Check the wiring, make sure it's good. All right, let's see if we can fire it up here. And it idles down perfect. It had a high idle at first. I was letting it calibrate and purring like a kitten. Alright guys, now it's time to get the breather and everything back on. I'm sure you all don't want to see that, so let me get the breather and everything back on and we'll finish up. Alright guys, so I've got the console, everything back together. I guess the next thing I'm going to try to do is take it for a real quick drive around the block and see how it does. Oh, that's the best it sounded idling in a while. It actually idled down properly. That's a good sound. Now, as long as it don't die on me while we're driving, that'll be great. So, as I've said, a lot of the stuff that's going to be on this channel, it's not necessarily going to be me fixing a van or me doing a lot of stuff like this. I may from time to time. It gives me something to do. It keeps my mind occupied. It's part of my recovery. Being able to take the time to work on things like this, you know, to keep my mind occupied. Idle hands are the devil's playground. I firmly believe that. So having hobbies, having things to do in recovery are very good ways to keep yourself occupied, your mind occupied. So over the next little bit, some of the videos that I'm going to be doing are some stories of my past. I've had some interest, y'all want to know about that, but I don't want it to just be about me. I want stories of success from other people's. You know, if you're in recovery and you've successfully, you know, turned your life around, I want to hear about that. I would love to sit down with you, talk to you. We do a phone call, an interview, something. I love hearing how other people have, you know, changed their lives from the addiction and the hells of their life that they were in, and that's truly of times what it was. Some of the things that I want to address, you know, are stigmas that people have about addiction and homelessness. I spent many years on the streets, unfortunately, and it took me wanting to finally do it to be able to do it. It wasn't, no matter how hard anybody pushed me to do something, I wasn't going to do it for them. I was going to do it for myself, and that's who I finally had to do it for. I couldn't do it for anybody in my life other than myself and for my own life. I found myself in positions on numerous occasions where I was nearly dead. The last time that happened, I was actually found in the woods with 104 degree, actually it was over 104 degree temperature, cellulitis in my legs. I was in pretty bad shape. That was my breaking point. It was either death or go on. The opportunity that I was given though in court that day is one I will never forget. I was still dealing with the cellulitis and everything when I was in jail. That was about 3 years ago. I came out that day with the opportunity to do two things. I could either go buy dope or I could go to recovery. And I'll be honest with you, the first thing that crossed my mind was let's go buy some dope. And that was the process I was heading for. But then I remembered what someone done for me just a few hours before. And then I also remembered that feeling of what it felt like to have blue lights behind me 24/7. Was selling dope really worth that anymore? No, it absolutely wasn't. It wasn't a life to lead, live, or be a part of. What I do now, though, is I do try to give back. I've worked some in the community that I was homeless in. It's really hard. There's a lot of triggers there. And it's also very hard, and this may sound selfish, but it's hard to put my own recovery in front of trying to get theirs when they're not trying to, help themselves with anything. Help you once, help you twice, that's great. Do something with it. More than that, then you're not getting it from me. You need to find what you can do for yourself before coming and asking me what I can do for you. You have to be selfish in your recovery. You can't allow other people to dictate how your recovery looks or what it's going to be like. You can't let everyone else's expectations lead your dreams, because if you fall short of someone else's expectations, they're hard on you, right? But there's still no one harder on themselves than you are. Guys, I've talked to you long enough. I'm hoping to do more of this, and this is topics that I'll be talking on in the future. I want to know topics, though, that you all would like to hear about. If there's something in your life that's bothering you, there's so many places that you can call and reach out to. Personally, Evolve in Knoxville. This is for our local area. East Tennessee Addiction Specialist, Cornerstone, they were all huge parts of my recovery and were fantastic people to work with. If you need any more information about facilities, rehab, or anything local in the Tennessee area, feel free to reach out to me. My email is linked below, and you all can also find me on Facebook. Follow me on there, and make sure, like always, to hit that follow button, the subscribe button, ring that notification bell so when new content comes out, you'll be able to know about it. Because I'm going to be doing this more often. I'm not just doing it for myself, I'm doing it for you all. And hopefully this reaches someone that needs it. Guys, I'm here for you. I love you, and I hope you all have a blessed day.